Any chance you're going to put your box up in the raffle?
No, this is mine. My converter box.
Because I did not send in for a coupon last spring or summer. I did in October. They run out of coupons.
You're on a waiting list. Congress will eventually get around to fixing that.
And I was told.
You signed up in October?
Send in for, yeah.
Okay, you should have gotten it by now. So I would definitely. You should have gotten a number. Okay, you should have gotten a number when you signed up. Then I would check it out.
So I thought,
you should have
okay.
had it by now.
All right, I
This is
didn't
what
get
they
the
look like, by
number,
the way.
didn't get my coupon. What's it look like?
That's what you should get in the
Oh.
mail. This is I signed up for 2. These are no good anymore,
I
so
would
no
too.
use mugging me in the parking lot.
So I thought, okay, I'll do without the coupon. It was my fault I didn't send it in last summer. I'll go out and buy a box. I have not been able to find one in Albuquerque.
box?
Went to Target and they said, oh, we sold the last one this morning, go to this other Target. Went to that other Target on Montgomery and they said, no, we've been out of them all week. There's not a Target in town that has them. Went to Radio Shack. Radio Shack didn't have them.
Try Best Buy.
Best Buy?
I've seen stacks of them, as recently as 2 weeks
Best Buy ran
ago.
out, you said?
Circuit City apparently has a lot too. So, but you're right. I mean, and this has been a huge issue because, the coupon program didn't roll out very smoothly. There were lots of issues. We were trying to sign up people at one of our open houses 6 months ago, and it wouldn't take P.O. boxes at that time. So, nobody in Corrales could get a converter box. Okay, and then, we had a couple that came in that was renting an apartment. Well, the people who had rented the apartment before them had signed up, so their address was now off. They couldn't get a coupon. So there were lots of issues across the board with it. And then when they did finally start sending them out, it rolled out fairly well at that point, but then people didn't understand that they all have an expiration date on them. It's 90 days from the day they mail it, 80 days if you're lucky from the time you get it. Well, I'm in this, I know better, and I was online midnight the night this thing was going to expire getting my converter boxes because I was, I forgot. And I'm doing this. So, you can understand this happening to people. The coupons expired. There are lots of them out there. Now, what they're saying now is the bill is really ready to go to Obama for signature. It indicates, I don't think it's real clear, but I think it indicates that they may renew the expired ones. So if you have expired ones, I wouldn't throw them away because they may refresh them. There's some unknowns, yeah.
You talked about how long the converter box is going to be on the market.
Well, I mean, my understanding is that this is really kind of a stopgap. This was never intended to be the be-all, end-all solution to digital television. It's not what it's for. This was so that people who have TVs that worked and didn't really want to go out or couldn't go out and fork over lots of money for a new digital set would have a transitional method of getting television until such a time as their TV died and they got a new one. TVs die, you will get a new one someday. And you can't buy one now, or you're going to have a lot of trouble finding one that is still analog. You're not even supposed to be selling them at this point. So if you bought a television set in the last couple of years, it's a digital set, or at least it's digital ready. Okay? So these will go away. My guess, don't know, my guess is in a couple of months after the actual hard date, you'll start seeing these disappear real quick. I don't think retailers have a lot of incentive to sell a converter box.
They don't. I think they stopped making them just recently.
Yeah.
Because they were planning on a February 17th date, so they geared down and are on to other things. So there may be a shortage of these. Now, here's my political statement. This is what happens when the government mandates something rather than the consumer. It's just been problem after problem. The broadcasters have done everything they were supposed to do on this, and then some, and above and above and above. And I don't know any other change or piece of information in which you have a 95% recognition that it's happening. There's only 5% of people who don't have a clue. 95% know, and of those, 10% of those just haven't bothered to get off their butt to do it. So, I mean, that's really where we're at. It is, if you have an 85 or 90% transition rate, that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. You can't get people to vote more than 65 or 70% of the time. But they've managed to go out and make the transition.
I hope you don't mind. I heard you on the radio quoting that, and I've been using that ever since because he's absolutely right. It blows my mind that 95% isn't good enough. When are you going to get good enough?
Can you? I want to know, why is digital important? Nobody's told me why I should get rid of analog and have.
It's a better picture. It's a clearer picture. Both the standard digital and HDTV is fabulous if you watch sports, if you watch big screen movies and things. It's really a good picture. But the biggest reason is it's more efficient to a limited spectrum, and the government wants that spectrum back and have given us this to replace it with. And it's really, they didn't give you a choice because a lot of people would have your attitude, which was, my picture's just fine. Why do I need to mess around with this? But you really didn't have a choice, and that's why they had to do this, because if this was going to be consumer driven, it would have been a very long time before we got to that point. They had to force the issue.
And this, by the way, isn't limited to the United States. This is happening around the world. In fact, we're not the first ones.
Japan's been digital for a while.
Yeah, so parts of Europe. I mean, this has happened in a lot of parts. So they're already doing, and there is a need at some level to reorganize the spectrum and use it more efficiently.
So the way to think of this is that it is really not for your benefit as a consumer of television. It is only for your benefit as a consumer of other services that require the other bandwidth, including emergency services.
Well, I qualify to say that it isn't necessarily to your benefit. Personally, I think digital television looks great.
I would disagree with that.
Yeah.
It will give you a better picture on the main channel.
And what will it do for the content?
The same thing 200 cable channels have done for your content in the past. It'll give you an opportunity without paying for cable or satellite to get additional content that you may not want, but it will be out there for free instead of having to pay a cable bill every month.
One of the big selling points, especially when I talk to the seniors groups, is Channel 4's Weather Channel,
right.
4-2. I hope you don't get rid of it, because you get, something you could only do on cable up until, I don't know, what, a year or so ago? When did you start doing the weather?
About a year and a half.
You know, and now I go out and I tell folks, hey, you know, when you get that converter box and hook up, you're going to get 24-hour weather on 4-2. Like,
how frequently do they update that?
It's updated constantly.
Because, I mean, like, I am sometimes at home during the day, and I see that, and I see there's Steve Stucker standing there telling me what the weather is, but I don't know if I'm watching him at 2:30 in the afternoon, whether that's live or whether it was recorded 2 hours ago.
If it's 2:30 in the afternoon, he probably recorded that bit. The graphic stuff is updated constantly.
Okay.
The individual deals, Steve probably updates it 3 or 4 times during the morning, and then when the afternoon weather person gets in at 2, then they start updating it there. So it's maybe, Steve's thing may be 45 minutes or an hour old at 2 o'clock.
Okay, but it's not going to be like 4 hours old.
No,
okay.
No, it's not going to be.
What
by 2 o'clock,
overnight?
the other guy comes in. Overnight, it's just, it runs, but the information that you see is automatically computer generated software that updates it. So it's just the thing that goes in the video thing that will be out of date overnight. After about 11 o'clock at night, I don't have any weather people there until Steve comes in at 3:30.
And that's just an example, but again, you're talking about free broadcast outside of the cost of the converter box, all right? Free television, more channels, so closer to what you're used to get on cable. I'll brag a little bit about Channel 5. We've got 2 channels on Channel 5. We also have Channel 9, which is only digital, 2 channels on Channel 9 in the Albuquerque, Santa Fe area. So now you're getting 4 PBSs where you got 1 before. And we'll only get 1, by the way, on Comcast or on satellite, because they're not carrying those other streams. So, there are ways, by the way, to hook up a converter box and cable. So you can have both. You can get your off-air channels, you can get your cable channels, you can have both. So those things that you're missing on cable, you can still get. So there are ways to do that as well.